Daffodils by William Wordsworth. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high over vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. Beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads and sprightly dance. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not but be gay in such a jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. For oft when on my couch I lie, in waken or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills, and dances with the daffodils.
This is the poem we are going to learn today. Dear children, good morning everybody. Welcome to English online class. This video has been recorded as part of ICET Public School online classes. Today we are going to discuss, as you have listened at the beginning, a poem written by William Wordsworth. The name of the poem is Daffodils. Before I am moving on to the poem explanation, I would like to talk a few words about William Wordsworth. William Wordsworth is known as the poet of nature, and he also known as romantic poet in 17th century. In those times when he lived, William Wordsworth, along with him, there were many poets were there, and at that time the poems are very popular among the people, just like now the video clips and small TikTok are very popular, among us. And like that, as of today, these are the things like that. Those time these poems were popular. There was a time everybody, all the people, they are reading poems, they are talking poems and poetically expressing their feelings and their emotions. And it was a time like that once upon a time. Those time William Wordsworth was a revolutionary poet, we can say. Why I said revolutionary? In the sense, those time the poets of that time, they were writing about big things, maybe about a king, maybe about a queen, maybe about the palace, maybe about soldiers and war and fight and the victory. Like that, those time they were writing about the poems, means something very rich and kingly matters. It was like that. So William Wordsworth changed that notion, changed the subject of the topic of the poem. He changed. He started to write poems about a flower. He started to write poems about small things. A poem maybe about a bridge, or maybe about a time he sit alone in sofa, or something like that. He started to write many poems about small things, means the topic, the subject of the common man. And the people realized that, the readers realized that we can write poems about everything, even about small things. And later on became the all other poets also started to write poems about small things. So today, that is what is. Please look. Daffodils is a poem, as I said, written by William Wordsworth. You can look into when I am explaining. Now I am going to explain the poem line by line I will explain. I will take one line, second like that I will explain. Yeah, so it is very simple. And there is one more thing about William Wordsworth, he was writing the poems unlike any other poet of that time. They were writing in very difficult, tough words. And now Wordsworth changed it. Wordsworth made the poems he was writing using the language of common man, means simple language, no difficult words, very simple, using very simple language. Just like that in Malayalam, some of the poems are written using very tough words, and some are very simple. So William Wordsworth was the first person started to use simple words in poetry. So that also another one of his revolutionary change that he made in poetry. So, and now we can look, so please you can look page number 139. In your English textbook, you can look into the textbook when I am explaining. I will show the lines in the screen, but you can also look into the book and mark the word meaning, underline it, and you can note down. So when I am explaining, if you are writing something over the textbook also, you will remember it every time. You will not forget. Even examination time also, you can visualize the page number 139 in your mind. You will remember about the poems, the poetry lines and all, you will remember always. So I am moving on to Daffodils. So first of all, William Wordsworth, as I said, Daffodils is one of the most popular poems of the Romantic age, describing the poet's excitement. In this poem, the poet is describing, explaining his excitement, love, and praise for a field, appreciation for a beautiful field, blossoming with daffodils, that was blooming up, blossoming with daffodils flowers you might have seen. So such daffodils flowers are blooming in an area, a long wide area. So he's surprised, he had a feeling about that area. So that feeling he is explaining in the poetry. I hope you understood the topic. The subject is that he was walking, he saw an area. In that area there are many flowers are blooming. These daffodils flowers are blooming, and so he got excited, he got loved and praised about the area. So that is explaining, is writing in the form of a poem. That is what in this. William Wordsworth wrote Daffodils on a stormy day. He was writing this in springtime while walking. Actually, it happened that while he was walking in Ullswater Lake in London, in England, he imagined that the daffodils were dancing and calling him to join and enjoy the breezy nature of the field. So when he saw that field, an area, he thought that these daffodils are calling me in order to join with that flowers and enjoying the breezy day and to dance with that flowers, and so to be part of the nature. And that is what he is called. I told now, he is the poet of a nature. And the poem contains 6 lines. You can look into your book. You count 1, 2, 3. There are 6 lines in 4 stanzas. In one stanza there are 6 lines. Like that, 4 stanzas are there as an appreciation of daffodils, this poem. Okay, now we can move into the poem. Are you ready? We can look into the poems one by one. The first line, it starts like this. As we heard in the beginning of this video, it is like this. I wandered lonely as a cloud. He was wandering. Wandering means walk aimlessly without any purpose. He was walking leisurely manner, just like evening walk and jogging, like that. He was walking, he was wandering. He wandered lonely, alone, without any company. He wandered lonely as a cloud, just like a cloud. Clouds are moving. That clouds are moving without any aim. Like that he was moving. He wanted that floats on high over valleys and hills. And the clouds actually that they are moving, the clouds are moving over the mountain, over the hills, and over the valleys. And vales meaning valley. Okay, in modern English, where it is valleys. So that floats, that cloud, that clouds that float, that cloud was floating, moving. Okay, so when we put something over the water, so it will float over the water. Like that, the clouds were moving in the sky without any, like that I was wandering over the hills and valleys. The clouds actually that was wandering, that was moving over the hills and valleys. Like that I wanted. Then the third line, so wandering we know, moving aimlessly. Valleys and hills means that a natural raised area of land. This already is simple, there nothing to explain more. Then the next line, when all at once I saw a crowd. So actually this line you can read for understanding like this: I saw a crowd at once. Then when at that time when he was wandering aimlessly, he was wandering, at that time he saw at once, immediately he saw a crowd. Crowd meaning we know, a group of people, many people is called crowd. So he saw a crowd. So here the crowd, what crowd he saw? He saw a crowd. That means that crowd as a host of golden daffodils. He saw a crowd of daffodils, we can say. He saw a crowd of, a group of many. Actually, we won't use crowd with flowers. With the people we are using crowd. But here the poet has used a crowd of daffodils he saw in that area. Golden daffodils. The color actually yellow, but he used it like that, gold. So in his mind he imagined, or in his mind he conceived it as gold. So golden daffodils were there. Host meaning when guests are coming to our home, we are the host. When we are going to others' home, they are the host, we are the guest. The guest and host meaning. Host meaning when we are receiving the guest, we are the host. When we are going to somewhere, okay, at that time we will be the guest. So here the flowers are the host, means receiving. They are waiting to receive the guest. So these flowers, he compared that like a host. So I was wandering alone aimlessly without any purpose. At once, immediately I saw at that time a crowd of golden colored daffodils like a host. They are waiting to receive me like this. They were, the flowers were there. So that flowers was, the flowers were beside the lake, beneath the tree. And again he is explaining that area, explaining the scenario he is explaining. So he is telling that crowd of golden colored daffodils that was laying beside the lake. We have learned the difference between besides and beside in confusing words. So near the lake, beneath under the tree, these flowers were there. Near the lake, as you can see in the picture, it was like this. Near the lake, under the tree, these golden colored daffodils were waiting as a host. I saw at once, immediately, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. So that flowers were, that daffodils, golden colors of daffodils were fluttering. That was fluttering, just like the birds are means doing their feathers, wings, how they are moving, like that. It was fluttering and dancing in the breeze. The breeze means in the wind. It was fluttering and dancing, that flower. So now he's explaining using his imagination. Actually these flowers will dance? No. Now he is giving, means a kind of imagination is applying. Then it become more poetic. In order to make it more poetic, that flowers was fluttering and dancing in the breeze. So now we get you can imagine that situation, how lovely that time would be, we can imagine. Then the next line, fluttering means hover by flapping, like the birds are wings quickly moving, that right. Then crowd, we know that group of people, crowd of daffodils, we said, no, that's. Now this first stanza is over. That stanza is talking about this. In summary of that, the poet has compared himself to a floating cloud passing over hills and valleys. He compared himself with the sky, with the cloud that was moving over the hills and valleys. He was on a stroll. He was jogging on his walk through the countryside when he suddenly came across means suddenly saw countless, means number of countless yellow daffodils. These daffodils were beside a lake under tree. The flowering breeze made the daffodils flutter, and it seemed as if they were dancing. So because of the wind, the breeze, it was fluttering, it was moving. So it as if it was like as if dancing, the flowers are dancing, he compared. Okay, now we shall move on to the next stanza of the poem. That started, the first line is continuous as the stars that shine. That flowers was continuous, means number of continuous, are that one after the other, like that continuous flowers, daffodils, that was there. Just like, now again he is comparing the daffodils. First he compared that he was walking as a cloud that was floating over the hills, like that. Now he comparing the daffodils, it was continuous, like the stars in the sky that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way. We know that shine in Milky Way, how the stars are twinkling and shining in Milky Way, like that. It was continuous, as you can see in the picture, just like that continuous crowd of golden colors of daffodils. It was shining and twinkling like the stars in Milky Way. This daffodils also was there, continuous. They stretched in ever-ending line. Stretched means that spread in ever-ending line. That when we look from this end, that ever and till the end of our eyesight, that is continuously that these flowers were there, daffodils were there. So that spread, that stretched in never ending. When we are going again, that moving again, that is going away and far away. So it was endless line. In a line, it is in an endless line near the lake, beside the lake. We said that near the lake, it was there, many daffodils were there. They stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. I said that it was, these flowers, daffodils, were along, we already said, beside the lake. A bay means that a curved area of a lake is called a bay. So near the margin, at the margin, we know in page where we put the margin. So at the one end, so like that, in the margin of that lake. Bay means lake, you can consider as a lake, a curved area of lake. So at the margin of that that lake, this was stretched, and in wide open area it was stretched. Now, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. And again he is telling, first we said that it was fluttering and dancing. Now tossing. Tossing means that moving. Again that moving. Tossing their heads. Head was tossing like this. Means the flower was tossing their heads in sprightly dance, means energetically, lively. Sprightly means with energy, with full energy it was. Not like dull and not fade, not like this. So it was very energetically, the flowers were dancing, and like a host. Host means receiving me, like that they are waiting for me. Very energetically they are dancing that daffodils. In this stanza, second stanza, William Wordsworth is explaining this. The summary is this. To William Wordsworth, the daffodils appeared to be as continuous as twinkling stars on Milky Way galaxy. Like that, the stars we can't count. Stars are countless. Like that, for William Wordsworth, these daffodils were. It was countless. Means is in never-ending line. It was at the margin of the bay. It was. Then they were arrayed means arranged. They were standing in a seemingly unending line along the bank of the adjacent bay. Near the bay, it was like unending, seeming, and actually it will end, okay. But by looking, we think it looked like never ending, that flowers. To the poet, it seemed as if 10,000 daffodils were bobbing in the gentle breeze, and he imagined them to be engaged in a lively dance. And he thought that, I forgot to explain one line. Did you notice in the book? He's telling that 10,000 saw I at a glance. Really, I forgot. Sorry, dear children. Now we can. So from here I could see that I forgot to explain that one. 10,000 saw I at a glance. He saw at a glance. At one look, he saw 10,000 daffodils. Actually, it is in some time teachers will, I told you 10,000. Actually, 10,000 teacher might have said no. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1,000, 2,000, 10,000. No, just a figure. Is not exact number. It is. William Wordsworth is giving 10,000. I saw. He was telling that 10,000. It's a hyperbole. It is the figure of speech used in that line. So the poet is expressing that he saw 10,000. That is what said. Daffodils were bobbing in the gentle breeze, and he imagined them to be engaged in a lively dance, and he is thinking of that they are dancing in a lively way. Now we are moving on to the next stanza. That stanza in the starts like this. Third stanza, the waves beside them dance, and the waves. So in lake there will be waves, water waves will be there. So that waves beside them danced. So when he saw the daffodils were dancing and tossing their head, so accordingly, rhythmically, with that daffodils, the lake waves also dancing. The waves beside them dance. Beside them, waves are there. Waves in that lake. So that lake waves also, just like it was, dancing with that daffodils. But they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. So they outdid, but they means daffodils outdid. They won the first prize. Waves are dancing, the daffodils also dancing. So actually the daffodils outdid, made it better. That was super. Daffodils, they outdid the how did the sparkling waves in glee, in happiness? In glee means in happiness, that the daffodils are dancing in. How did they are doing more better in happiness, daffodils, than the waves are dancing in the lake. Sparkling means when the water is sparkling, when the waves are coming, reaching on the edge, on the shore, it will sparkle, and it was dancing. And so actually they outdid. This daffodils dance was better than the dance of the waves, this thing. And the next line, a poet. A poet could not but be gay in such a jocund company. A poet is a poet, Wordsworth. A poet, all human beings are inside, they are poet actually. So he's telling that a poet could but be gay. A poet can do nothing but enjoy, but be happy, be gay in such a jocund company, in such a jocund company means such a cheerful company. In this is he considered the daffodils as for him, he is alone, this daffodil, he considered this daffodils as his happy company, cheerful company. Actually he was walking alone, no one was with him, so these daffodils are his company. He considered that they were the company for, they were giving company for him, as a jocund company, as a cheerful company. I gazed. Then what the poet did? I gazed, but little thought what well the show to me had brought. I just looked. Gazed means I looked and looked. It means that he kept on, that is why he repeated that word. He kept on looking on that flower, and I didn't think what wealth, what happiness, what strength and wealth, what wealth the show, that beautiful area, that show to me had brought. I did not think of what the show will give to me. I did not think of, but I kept on watching it, looking at it. I did not think of what good, what wealth the show will give, what show it can be given. I did not think of it. The next line is, for oft when we, that is this is the last stanza. Okay, now I am talking about the last stanza of the poem, that start like, for oft when on my couch I lie in vacant or in pensive mood, on my sofa. For oft means often when I was laying on the sofa without any hurry, means leisurely, in vacant or in pensive mood, in thoughtful mood, in very thoughtful thinking mood, simply thinking we will be laying on sofa, like that. When I was laying on my sofa in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye, and that scenery, that picture, that will come in my mind like a flash, like a, means that in my inward eye, means in my inner mind, in my brain, that scenery, that scene will come in my mind. So when I was in thoughtful mood lying on the sofa, these images, this scene was coming into me. Which is the bliss of solitude, that is the happiness of loneliness, that is the merit of alone, singleness, that is the pleasure of, alone, is telling. And then after that, and then my heart with pleasure fills, and dances with the daffodils. So when I was lying on the sofa alone in thoughtful mood, this scenery was coming in my mind, and it will fill in my heart, and with pleasure, that imagination, that memory fills my heart with pleasure and dances with the daffodils, and my heart will dance with the dance of that daffodils that I saw once upon a time on a bed, on the side of a lake. I saw the daffodils. That with that energy, with that daffodils, my heart was dancing when I was thinking of that one. The summary of that stanza: whenever the poet is in low spirit, without energy, the sight of the daffodils flash in mind. His heart fills with joy and happiness, and it seems to him as if his heart is dancing with the daffodils. He feels like that his heart is beating just like a dance. Heart is dancing with that daffodils. This is the poem written by William Wordsworth. I would like to, already the time is beyond the limit, so that I will tell that the more details in WhatsApp group. Please come back to the WhatsApp group. I will tell you what the exercise you have to do and what you are supposed to do, and all I will tell in WhatsApp. Okay, thank you for watching my video. Please watch it again and again and read the poems in your textbook. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Be safe at home. Bye bye.